What's up guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Victoria and in today's video we'll be drafting a basic sleeve pattern. For this tutorial we'll be using the following measurements and I already have my tools in place, so let's get started. So I'll begin by folding my pattern paper in two like so, and that folded end will become the midpoint of my basic sleeve. So to begin, I'll start by marking 1/2 inch from the top end of my pattern paper. I'll draw a horizontal line across and I'll be taking all my measurements from that line. Next, I'll determine the full length of my sleeve. You can work with your measurements or that of your client, but for me, I'll be using 23 inches. So the full length of my sleeve is going to be 23 inches. So I'll be placing my tape on that horizontal line and I'll be marking 23 inches downwards from that point. I'll also go ahead to draw a horizontal line across that point. So I have two horizontal lines. The first one is where my sleeve begins and the second one is where my sleeve ends. This is going to be a long sleeve, but if you're going for a short sleeve, all you have to do is measure the point where you want your sleeve to end and mark it as well. So now it's time to determine the cap height, which is essentially your shoulder to bicep line, and I'm marking 4 inches from that horizontal line. I got 4 inches from dividing my bust measurement by 12 plus 0.5. So from the horizontal line, I'm marking 4 inches downwards. I'm going to be squaring out that point. So now it's time to create the part of the sleeve that will be attached to the armhole. And I'll begin by marking my shoulder to upper chest line measurement on the horizontal line for the cap height, plus 1/2 inch for ease. So my shoulder to upper chest measurement is 8 inches plus 1/2 inch, that's 8.5. So from the center of the sleeve, I'm marking 8.5 inches along the cap height. Then I'll connect that point to meet the beginning of the sleeve in a slant. So I'm going in with my ruler and I'm connecting the 8.5 inches to the beginning of the sleeve like so. Next, I'll determine the midpoint of that slanted line, and from that point I'll be going up by 1/2 inch. Then I'll be going in with my French curve to connect that point to meet the beginning of the sleeve. So I stopped right at the 0.5 inch mark, and for the rest I'll be going in with my straight ruler to connect it back to the cap height. And that will become the part of the sleeve that goes into the back armhole. So I'm just making a notch to indicate that. And now for the part of the sleeve that goes into the front armhole, I'll be going in again with my French curve, but this time I'll be connecting the beginning of the sleeve directly to the midpoint of the slanted line. So I'll be going in with a different color of marker so you can clearly see the difference, and I'm stopping just at the midpoint of that line. And for the rest, this time I'll still be going in again with my French curve to connect it to the cap height like so. And that's the part of the sleeve that will be attached to the front armhole. So I have two curves, one for the back and one for the front. So now that I'm done with that part, I'll continue with the rest of the sleeve, and I'll start by marking my bicep line, which is 8 inches down from the beginning of the sleeve. Remember, I'm working with my measurements, so you're going to be working with yours. So from the horizontal line, I'll be marking 8 inches downwards. I'm going to square out that point and that will become my bicep line. Next, I'll be going down by 6 inches from that line. I'll square the point across and that will become my elbow line. Now it's time to insert my round sleeve measurements divided by 2, and I'm starting with my bicep measurement divided by 2. I'm using my measurements, so you'll be using yours. I'll be doing the same for my elbow and for my wrist, which is the last horizontal line for the sleeve. Now I'll be going in with my ruler to connect all the points together, so I'm connecting the cap height all the way down to the wrist. And we're almost done. You can see the shape of the sleeve coming out nicely, so all that's left to do is to add your seam allowance and cut it out. So for seam allowance, I'll be using 1/2 inch along the sides and the top of the sleeve. and 1 inch along the wrist. I'll go ahead to connect the seam allowance before cutting it out. When cutting, I'll begin cutting with the side that goes into the back armhole first, and then I'll trace out the front part on the other side of the paper before cutting it out. So I went ahead to trace out the part going into the front armhole off camera, and this is what it looks like. Now I have to add seam allowance to this side and then cut out the excess. So now I'm just extending all the horizontal lines to the other side of the paper, and that will be all for the sleeve pattern. Remember, when cutting this onto fabric, you'll need to cut 2 separate pieces for this, 1 for each arm. So that's it guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you stayed to the end, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if there's any question you can leave it down in the comment section below, and I'll be seeing you in my next video.